There are three groups of Democrats. And really, when you come down to it, there is only one group that is a traditional Democrat. First, you have the socialist revolutionaries. These are the people that have always been on the outside. They have not had a party. They're communist, socialist, revolutionaries. They are people like Bernie Sanders that have never really had a home. Now, those socialist revolutionaries were brought into the party beginning back in the 1980s when they decided they really needed a coalition. They started bringing them in, but they were always kept at arm's length. Back in the early 2000s, they started bringing these real revolutionaries in to fight against George W. Bush. The people that did not necessarily vote for Democrats ever, but they were communists, they were socialists, they were literal revolutionaries. People like Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn. These people were always on the fringe of society or just under the radar, but then they were embraced to fight George W. Bush. And I warned at the time, you think you're using them? They've been waiting for this moment. They, in the end, are going to destroy you. And they'll destroy you before they destroy the Republican Party. So there's your first group of voters. They want radical change and nothing American. They do not want the Constitution. They don't want the guaranteed protections. They want not equal justice. They want social justice. They want redistribution of wealth. All of the stuff that Barack Obama was, accused of because of the people he surrounded himself with, and said, no, that's crazy talk. Well, it's not, because here they are. The second group is the new, if you will, progressive, liberal, corrupt establishment. These were the people that started really kind of, with FDR. They bastardized the word liberal, but they were still kind of holding on to things like the ACLU and say, no, we're for freedom of speech, but really they weren't. But it was close enough to where most people didn't understand, and nobody wanted to believe that all of these politicians were as corrupt as they were. Now we know these politicians are absolutely corrupt, and I'm not just saying the Democrats, Republicans are too. Just corrupt, and they're not in it for anybody but them and their family, apparently. And they can get rich a million different ways, and they do not want their power to end. But they're progressive liberals, and they don't want to really upset the apple cart. They'd like enough of a revolution to where it's not so hard trying to keep electing the same people over and over again. They'd like that to happen. And then there's the third category. And I think this is the majority of Americans. And the majority of Democrats. They're the forgotten Democrat. They're the ones that are looking for, dare I say it, hope and change. The reason why Barack Obama's hope and change worked is because almost everyone was looking for hope and change. I was looking for hope and change. I was tired of the Bush administration. I was tired of the backroom deals. I was tired of being lied to. I was tired of the never-ending wars. I was tired of the out-of-control spending. I was tired of being talked down to and called, not being a patriot if you weren't for the Patriot Act. I wanted hope and change too. But when Barack Obama offered it, a lot of people just heard that and they thought, yeah, he's saying what I believe. That's why I've always said you have to really understand who you're standing next to, who you're supporting, because they might say all the right things. Barack Obama capitalized on hope and change, but his hope and change required fundamental transformation of the United States of America. Now, there's a difference between revolution and restoration. I want a restoration of what was right with America while getting rid of those things that are wrong with America. Corruption, the out-of-control spending where no one is held responsible for anything. I want a fair justice system. I want truth, justice, and the American way. And I think there's plenty of Democrats all across this country that are hardworking people that feel the same way. They're tired of getting the shaft. They're tired of being told that they're the problem. They're tired of being told that, they'll never make it. When they know, when they're talking to their friends in the coffee shop, we could fix this. Guys, we could fix this. You know what the problem is. They really believe they can fix it because they can fix it in their own town, in their own life. So what they're looking for is somebody that's not insane, somebody that doesn't want the fundamental transformation of America, and somebody that's an outsider. They're looking for Donald Trump, which is why 18% of those who voted for Donald Trump were Democrats. They're looking for someone who who Donald Trump is. Is there any question in your mind? Yesterday I saw the news report. Donald Trump broke his record for tweets yesterday. My response was, duh, really? Of course he did. We know who he is. Imperfections at all. We know who he is. And you're willing to accept that. Because as insane as he might seem, or insane as his actions might seem to people, his actions on the world stage, what he's actually done, not what he said, what he's actually done, not insane. What he's actually done with the economy, it's working. Seems to be going really well. Imagine what it would be if he took those insane trade tariffs away. But you know what? It's okay right now. What he did with Iran? That was insane. No, it wasn't. Seemed to have worked. At least temporarily. But they're always going to be a problem. People are looking for somebody not to not look nuts. They don't care. They knew Donald Trump looked nuts. They knew he looked like he wasn't presidential. I said that in 2007. If Barack Obama gets into office, he is so slick, we're going to have a guy who has a gravy stain on his tie and stands up and maybe he farts during his speech. He's like, we all fought, huh? That's who we have. That's who we have. And everybody looks at the outside packaging of Donald Trump, the over-the-top, everything is perfect Donald Trump. And they know, I don't know how he does it, but he does it. Now, if his administration was putting together the insanity of an agenda that was as insane as his tweets and everything else, he would be gone. He would at least not be reelected. But it's not. That's the packaging. The substance is different than the packaging. And people know that because they feel safe. They feel like, there's encroachments on things, but we're okay. At least the president's not crazy and listening to, crazy people on either side. And he's doing things that we all wanted to do. I mean, what did Democrats want? They wanted an end to these endless wars. What did many Republicans want in 2008? An end to these endless wars. We don't want to be lied to. We don't want people undercover doing things where they're enriching themselves or they're getting us entangled into foreign affairs without even talking to us about it. We just want to be left alone and be able to do our work. And we still also want to be charitable. So when the Democrats look at Bernie Sanders, there's always going to be, it should be about 10%. But I think we're up to maybe 20 or 30% of this population that is now willing on the Democratic side to go to war. I'll have a revolution. I think it's around 10%, but it could be as high as 30. Warren doesn't have the same effect on the voter as Bernie Sanders does, but she also she has more of the corrupt establishment air that hurts her. And he has more of the, Soviet gulags were great air to keep his numbers suppressed. But the vast majority of people are not looking for the corrupt establishment. They're not looking for the rebel and revolutionary on any issue anymore. They've been revolutionized enough for a while. Can we just sit down and relax for a minute? They're looking for somebody that has hope and change. Joe Biden doesn't have that. He doesn't have that. But Joe Biden, what he does have is the feeling that he's not a revolutionary. He doesn't want to overturn all of American history and fundamentally transform things. And that's enough.